Hi guys, Thogrey here for a new video. In this video will be a PvP guide video for Disc Priest for Season 3 of Shadowlands. And yes, you heard me right, it is Disc Priest. I've tried Holy Priest, I've tried Disc Priest, and I must be honest, Holy Priest is indeed easily the easiest spec to play healer wise. It has a lot of things that are really strong. Like for example, the chastise stun is a bit obnoxious. There's a lot of classes that has like no stuns from range, but Holy Priest has that, so I guess it is what it is. But I prefer to play this priest. I enjoy it more. It is more rewarding. It is also funnier. The rotations are a bit more interesting, and also you have also the comfy zone where you have two school of spells to actually use to heal your targets. Of course, Shadowman is not the best healing healing spell that you can actually apply to an ally because it has a lot of mana issues when you're spamming it. But yeah, we're going to explain it in this guide. So don't worry, there's also timestamps here below, so you can check in the description below and you can check it out at your own pace. But we can start the video right now. So I've made a short notice so you can see what we are going to discuss, but also at which pace. You can also see that in the description below, but also on the timestamps, and you can skip or pause whenever you want. So we will discuss about stats and legendary first, because I feel like the legendary kinda give the engine starting for the talents, and then the talents is going to start the engine for the PvP talents, and the PvP talents is actually the creme de la creme, like the cherry on top of the cake. It is actually those PvP talents are the best. I would hope to have like an extra PvP talent in the future, maybe for Dragonflight, but for now we only have 3, so the choice is a bit harder to make. We will also discuss about covenants and conduits. There's like a few covenant choices that you can make, and also playstyle wise, what you want to search as a disc priest for your comp, but also your games, your playstyle in the arena. And we will also discuss about comps, which is a bit broad since you are a healer, and also place in the meta plus outro. So we will jump right in. This is my healer. I was a bit of AFK, and we will discuss right away with the gear and stats, also with the legendaries. So what we want as a disc priest is have a lot of haste. I have 31% haste. It could be even higher, but for now it is what it is. I need to change a lot of things. So I go for haste, then I go for mastery, and then I go for crit. But of course, we try to have as much verse as possible. It is this season a bit more harder to get verse, since your tier set sometimes can give like no verse, and yeah, it is what it is. You need to work around this. We will also discuss right away the tier set. The tier set, the 2 set gives you a chance, like a 50% chance to have your power word shield or shadowmant when they are casted, to give you a no cost shadowmant with also no cast time. It is often very random. It can proc 5 times in a row or not proc the whole match. But when it procs, it is actually super useful because it has no cost. Since you have a lot of mana issues as a disc, it can save your life, but also no cast time, so you can actually be always on the move and not get interrupted whenever you're going to cast. Power of the Dark Side increases the effectiveness of penance by an additional 30%, not 45% in PvP, it is 30%, and is triggered when Power Word Radiance is casted. So when you cast Power Word Radiance, you have those two little notice that you have the power of the dark side, so it is improved. So when you're ever going to cast penance, it is going to be a lot harder, a lot smoother, but also better healing or better DPS. So it is very nice. The 4 set is maybe the one of the best 4 set that you can have in the game. I think Priest in general, except Shadow Priest, but I think Holy Priest and this Priest has exceptional tier sets, and I hope that they nerf the nerf that they made for Power of the Dark Side, the 4 set, but we will see in the future. I have the Unity neck, but I'm quite poor, so I need to upgrade it. Once it's upgraded, it is always nice. I'm playing Venthea at this moment. We will discuss about it in the Covenant section. And I use the Legendary. It is the Penitent one. It gives you power word radiance, a 60% chance to cause your next penance to be free and fire 3 extra bolts. And it procs like this, so you have like a notice above your character. You also have a buff, which is dispellable, so mind you need to cast as fast as possible, and then when you cast, like, you're going to rapid fire on yourself. It heals like a lot. Like for example, here unbuffed 10k non-crit, and then 7k, 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 and then 7k again. It does a lot of healing, so it becomes your best healing ability, and often than not you can make someone from 20% to full health with one penance, which is exceptional. But also damage wise, it is super satisfying to use it as a damaging ability, since you have atonement healing, and atonement healing is also not to be underestimated. So I play with this. Also play with the quick oxane ring, so I have as much haste as possible. I have also haste on my gems, but also as an enchant. And we play with the haste verse. I've just bought it right now, so I need to upgrade it. But again, we try to have as much haste as possible. And we play with the normal trinket, because you want to be able to trinket whatever sun or sap or blind that is coming to your way. So we will discuss right now about the talent section. And you will see there is a lot of choices actually. You have the arena choice, which is pretty much you choose between castigation on the 15 row or Twist of Fate. Twist of Fate is also very nice if you feel like your teammates, their health are spiking all the time, and you feel like they are a lot of times below 35%, then Twist of Fate is actually a very good spell. Don't forget, 20% increased healing is a lot, because then if you are healing 20k on your penance, it will be 4k extra for your penance. Castigation is also very good because it also meshes well with the Legendary and the Forset. And in general, your penance will be top healing with Radiance, but also top damage dealing ability from your priest. So it depends on the situation. If you feel like the health is not fluctuating that much, you have maybe less value for Twist of Fate, then you will go for castigation, and vice versa. So you have choice there. On the 25 row, there's two choices, basically body and soul or angelic feather. I prefer to play body and soul with my disc priest, but I can understand why you would play angelic feather if you are like playing holy priest and you play a lot of angelic feather. You feel like you don't have control on your movement speed that much, then you can play with angelic feather. But for me, it is just an extra keybind for what body and soul can do for you. On the 30 row, I play two talents. Often than not, I will play Power Solace, which is very good to keep your mana as high as possible. The only problem is 1% of your maximum mana every 11 seconds. It means that actually it is only used whenever you are actually in a pinch. Like if you have no mana, you want to throw a spell as fast as possible, you will throw a Power Word Solace, and then you can throw, for example, Penitence, or maybe a Radiance, or maybe a Shadowlands. It all depends about the capacities for your mana, stability and how you deal with it in arenas. But you can also play with Mindbender, so you have your 1 minute CD on your Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend does a lot of damage, Mindbender does it as well. So it is more of a damaging PvP, like a PvP talent. I would say a talent that is good for PvP. I play it often and not versus rogues if I feel like they are running out of combat very fast. Then you throw a Mindbender on the rogue, and then you have like a bit of time to actually track the rogue for their stealth to not be re-stealth, for example. It is also good for your mana regeneration. It is a 1 minute CD, I can understand, but every time that the Mindbender attacks, first of all, it has a lot of damage, but also it increases your mana, so it's also very good. I think Power Word Solace is maybe the better talent to use if you want to have mana regeneration, because Mindbender, like Shadow Fiend, also regens the mana, because it regens 1% each time the Shadow Fiend attacks, and here it's 0.5%. So it's a nerf on the mana, but damage wise it does a lot of damage, so it depends on how you play around it. On the 35 row, I play with Psychic Voice in arenas. There is no real reason to go for Shining Force, but in RBGs, if you play RBGs a lot, Shining Force is maybe one of the best abilities that you can have in team fights, because you can give a lot of breathing air versus melee trains that are going for your warlock, for example. You can push them from your warlock. Also, they are very good for Arati Basin, for example, if you're defending a lumber mill or you're going for lumber mill. It is also very good for Eye of the Storm. It is also very good for a lot of BGs. So I'll just recommend to go for Shining Force if you're going for BGs. In the 40 row, I play with Sins of the Many because I like to have more damage. Pretty much, it is what it is, 12%. It becomes 9%, 6%. It depends on how many atonement healing you're doing. I think pretty much in RBGs you can play with Shadow Covenant, because there is no real reason to actually go for Sin of the Many, because it becomes like a very small damage boost. But you can also play Contrition to get your healing a bit more oomph, I would say. So you will heal a bit more. Here, Purge the Wicked, I play it because the other two are not interesting, and also I like to spread the penance, so I don't need to use a lot of mana. So I will just Purge the Wicked on the one melee, and then penance on the melee, and it will spread to the other melee, so it's very interesting. But the RNG would be that they are spreading towards Kevin, but we are actually trying to get the Power of Dark Side procs for your penance, so it is not really for the damage that you're going for, but for the procs. On the 50 row, you have Atonement reduces damage taken by 3%. I played this because it's actually very interesting, because it gives you a lot of damage reduction, like uptime. It is actually one of the easiest talents that you can use, because you don't really need to think. Once you have your Atonement on yourself, yeah, it is very nice to have your buff from Lenience. You can also play Spiritual, but I'm not a fan of it. Although, yeah, I'm not really a fan of it. I prefer to play Lenience. And Evangelism is not worth it. I just hope they rework this, because it is not good. 1.5 minutes to improve your atonements by 6%. Like, the duration is not worth it. Now we will talk about the interesting part, the PvP talents. The PvP talents, there's a lot of choices, but there is one talent that I will never change, because I feel like it meshes well with my legendary, it meshes well with my 4-set. It is Ultimate Radiance. It will give you a instant cast on Radiance, very easy to press. It is your oh shit button, and also the healing is very nice, like 150% is a lot, and when it crits, it is feeling very nice. I feel like if you're casting it, it is actually not going to heal a lot, first of all, and the mana that you're going to use is the same, and also they can kick you. So if they kick you unholy, then you cannot do penance, you cannot do power ward shield, you cannot smite, you can do nothing except Shadowment. And Shadowment is one of the abilities that you want to press as little as you can. It is a very good healing, but your mana is going to be melted. Like, I have done 3 Shadowments and I'm already at 45k mana. It's not good. So, Ultimate Radiance stays for always, and often than not, I will never change Blaze of Light, especially in 2s. In 3s, it might be, because maybe I'm not really searching for the damage that I can provide or the movement speed, but I try to survive as much as I can. Then I would switch it out, but Blaze of Light is actually very good. Like, your penance is increased by 15%, the damage, and also it increases or decreases your movement speed, and whenever you are in a pinch, you can do it on yourself and you're a bit faster, and then you do power word shield, you still are faster, and you can do the same on your target. Your enemy target gets reduced by 40%, so it's very nice versus rogues. They are running away, then they are not running away, and also the same for your allies. If you want them to be boosted, like healing wise and movement speed wise, you can just penance them and they are going to fly away. So it's very nice. I like it. And also it meshes well with Castigation. Often than not, if I'm not playing Castigation in 3s, I might then change Blaze of Light. But then again, I like the feeling of Blaze of Light, so I'll stay with Blaze of Light. The third PvP talent is the most versatile. Often than not, I can play Dark Archangel, but it is a bit, how can I say that, very, very greedy. it is maybe a feel-good spell for your allies, but you have a lot of PvP talents that you can use. So I'm going to explain one by one which one I'm using and which one I'm not. Purification I'm not using because I feel like it is a very good PvP talent, but it should be a baseline for me. 2 charges because you're a disc priest. If you're a holy priest, maybe not, but if you're a disc priest, I think it deserves a second charge of Purify, but a PvP talent is a bit too much of space that you can use for that PvP talent, so I prefer to not use it. Purified Resolve, I don't use it. Although 5% extra like absorption is very nice, it gets like deleted very fast. Also, you have your CD, so you cannot spam it. So 5% health, extra health on with your shield. It gives you like a 3.5k shield on a 70k target. So it's not that interesting. Trinity is the one that I've used the most in trees. It gives you atonement duration increased by 15%, 50 seconds. It is very nice because you can keep power shield on everyone, but also your smite, penance, and shadow fiend will crit more. And trust me, if you are doing radiance and you have those two buffs, and you have the crits, it gets like someone full health like in an instant. Also, the damage is very impressive on targets. You can crit per bolt 6k on a enemy target, and 6k times 7, for example. It is a lot of damage, like a lot of damage for a disc priest. Huh? You're a healer, and whenever you're going to do penance, which is improved by your legendary in your 4 set, and then Shadow Word Death, that guy is going to get deleted. So very strong. I like it. This is probably one of my favorite talents to use in trees, but in twos, don't use it because you don't have 3 targets. So why would you use that? So we're talking about trees right now. Huh? Strength of Shield of Soul, I don't use it because it's only applicable when your shield is persistent, so your shield is still on the target, but it gets deleted right away, so you don't really have the usefulness of the shield. Also, you play a lot versus casters in general, so I don't feel like Strength of Soul is very good. Especially Unholy DK's DH, they have a lot of physical damage, but also a lot of chaos and shadow damage, like respectively. So I would not mind. I don't like this. I prefer it to be baked into the Disc Priest base build, I would say. So just make it a passive. It could be interesting. Dome of Light, I play it if I feel like we're not going to survive very long, and I feel like I need to have a 50% reduction on your power word barrier. It is very good because it becomes a better pain suppression, and 1.5 minute CD correlates with a lot of CDs that a lot of people can use, like for example Necrolord banner with avatar on your versus an arms warrior, or for example Abomination Limb. You can then press power word barrier and then you are kind of safe, but they will just pull you out, but you're kind of safe for 3 seconds or 4 seconds. Versus Combust, also very good because they cannot displace you. Those are good PvP talents that you can use, and you can also use Dome of Light instead of Blaze of Light if you don't like the aggressiveness of Penance. But I like to have that setup most of the time if I feel like my team is dying very quickly. Archangel, I like it for twos, not for trees. I think trees it could be interesting too, but I feel like in trees Dome of Light is better, Trinity is better than Archangel, so I prefer to not use it. But in twos, if you feel like your team is very squishy, you can play with Archangel, and then you have like a big boost every minute for your healing. Excuse me. Dark Angel, I already discussed it. It is the greedy build. You want to boost your allies. If you play with a mage and a rogue, so you RMP, you can play Dark Angel, and then your combust goes are even more deadly. But then again, I still prefer to play a lot more other PvP talents. You have Thought Still, which is in twos very strong if you're playing versus a warlock or mage, because they cannot use polymorph for 50 seconds, 20 seconds, excuse me, and often than not it can be deadly because they cannot press their buttons. And sometimes they are confused. They don't know how it comes that the fear is not casting. So people are not noticing it a lot of the times. I think the CD is very long, so you need to win very fast with it, because then you have like a dead PvP talent for 1.5 minutes. But I like it. Also gives you an extra CC possibility if you're doing it on a mage or on a warlock. But also you can use it on a resto druid, and often than not rejuvenation gets stolen, and when rejuve is stolen, people are just panicking because they don't know that their rejuve is stolen and that they cannot do rejuve and then swift mend, for example. So it can be annoying for the enemy team. So Talsil, a good ability. I kind of hope that they become actually baseline, because it is a very fun spell. Same for DK with the spell that can that can replicate the spells that the last spell that gets thrown. It could be also interesting to make it baseline. So whatever. Improved Mazi spell. I use it a lot versus paladins, versus mages, in general versus anything that can be annoying to deal with. I think improved Mazi spell, if you're playing very well, often than not that paladin bubble, that retreat that is bubbling at 10%, he will die instantly, because you know when they are 10% and the healer is CC'd, they will bubble. So you can already precast it, and it's very fast, you know. The bubble is over, gets killed. Very strong. You can also play Inner Light and Shadow. I like it, but often than not, I play it in twos. Only in twos. In threes, I feel like I need the other PvP talents. Games are ending very quickly. It depends about your comp too, but games are ending very quickly. I feel like you are going to get but the way how you are getting in trees is not that important to actually improve your healing spells cost by 15%. Also, I like in twos to go for the inner shadow for having more damage, because then I have inner shadow with blaze of light, castigation, or twist of fate, and my burst is very high versus enemies. So sometimes I can solo kill someone without them noticing. So very, very strong. Let's discuss real quick about strength and weaknesses from Disc Priest, because I feel like people are misjudging Disc Priest. Yes, Holy Priest is probably better, or easier at least, because they have Chastise, which gives them a range stun, which gives them then a greater fade, and then they can just fear you. Also, greater fade helps them enormously. They can G-fade a lot of CC, and then CC in return to the enemy team. So I can understand why people don't like to play Disc Priest or with a Disc Priest. But the strength about Disc Priest is the damage reduction that you can give to the enemy team, to the allies when you're stunned, or whenever you are in a pinch. Pain suppression, very good. Power word barrier, very good. Rapture, also very good. Even though it's not that good, because the power word shield is not really shielding a lot, but it is interestingly one of the best abilities that you can press for responding versus offensive CDs. You don't need to pain suppression or barrier as fast as you can whenever you are pressing CDs. You can press Rapture and just sit on that. And it costs us a lot of mana because you're spamming Power Word Shield, and it costs us a lot of mana. But people will not understand why you're not dying if you're not doing pain suppression or barrier on yourself, for example. So I like to press Rapture very soon and then have pain suppression and hold a power word barrier to respond on other CDs, for example. The strength of this priest is also the damage, the easiness to have damage on the enemy team. I know holy priest can crit for a lot on their holy fire and mind games, for example. But if you're playing mind games as a disc priest, you have equally the burst that you can have with penance. If you're penancing a target and then you have mind games, the damage is very high. I can have like 3 or 4k DPS at times. 4k DPS as a healer is a lot. Like sometimes you don't notice that you're dying from the healer. So it's very strong. Also, I like Mindseer. I get so many rogues or ferals out of combat, out of the stealth I mean. And I like to have the... how would I say that, the flexibility of applying a shadow mant, getting kicked, and then having penance to save my ass. It is very, very good. I like it. So let's discuss about Covenant and Conduits. You have Night Fae, the Covenant Night Fae, which is very good if you're playing with an assassination rogue, for example, in twos or in threes. It is more selfless. You are trying to improve your friend. You also have damage reduction. You have mana regeneration, which is you have also mana regeneration, which is also very good and very useful. But I'm going to be honest, I like Venthyr. I like Mind Games. Mind Games has a big, good feeling, like it feels good feeling. If your rogue or any other DPS is stunning the target, you have like a Mind Games on the target and then Penance. People will just overreact or they will try to force a dispel, and by the time they dispel, they are dead, for example. It is very, very strong. Also, I like to, as a Disc Priest, PI my ally. I know that Holy Priest also does that. But I like to the combinations of all that kit, and that's why I prefer to play Disc Priest. Disc Priest. Excuse me. I'm a bit sick. But I wanted to make the video. Let's discuss about the conduits. So I'll play Nadeja, but you can play Teotha for the T. But I'm going to be honest, I like the Fatal Flaw and the Thrill Seeker, man. Like, whenever it pops Fatal Flaw, I have like 20% increased versatility. It is pretty much increasing my healing too, but also my damage output and also my defensive output. So if people are on me, I have Fatal Flaw, I will probably not die because I have a damage reduction on myself. Extra damage reduction from versatility, but also from other spells. Also my healing is increased. I like it. I still need to level Venthyr, but that will come. You have a lot of choices. You can play with the conduits to get more damage on your mind games. You can play Exaltation, which is not that good because like 12% increase, like this is a low eye level, huh? But I don't think it will be that much more whenever you're going for a higher eye level. But 4.7k shield, 15% of 12% of it, you're talking about a around 500 damage absorbed extra. It's not that much. I would not take Exaltation. Pain Transformation, I can understand why people play it because it is an instant heal. 20% from a 70k target. It is pretty much. How many is 24%? Like 25%? Yeah, it's about 18k, 20k healing. It is nice. It is alright. I don't know if it can crit, but I'm not playing that. Because pain suppression is a 3-minute CD, so pretty much your conduit only applies to a 3-minute CD. So basically, whenever you use it, it's over for 3 minutes, and then you can use it again. So it's a dead conduit for me. I don't like it. But I play Shining Radiance, which improves your radiance healing by 72%. My eye level is still very low because I don't play mythics, and I need to get elite to get my conduits levels, which is going to happen probably. Radiance heals for 13k. 13k is a lot, and it's a hit. It's not a crit. If it crits, it can be more. So whenever you're going for Radiance, you can do Penance, and then you have like a big full health DPS back on the streets. So it's very good. I play with Agent of Chaos because I like the disorient that gives. I play with Move with Grace because you want to have Leap of Faith as much as possible. It's 54 second CD, which is very good for all those kidney goes that your DPS is going through. So you can actually save your target as much as you can. This is PvE. I play with Desperate Prayer, which gives you extra healing. Yeah, it's self-improved healing, so it's very nice, very useful, and I don't think there is a lot more good things endurance and finesse wise. I play with the mind games because I like the initial damage to be high. Sometimes I can crit for 15k. And the extra reverse from damage or healing is also very useful, especially with the legendary that you have from Venthyr. It all scales very well. Also lasts an additional 2 seconds, which makes it 9 seconds, so it's a bit obnoxious if you're not dispelling. Especially in twos, when you're facing double DPS, they cannot deal with that, so sometimes they will just pop all CDs to try to get over the mind games. Duration of incoming interrupts and snare and roots are reduced, always nice. And I play with Swift Penitence, which gives your first bolt of penance a 48% extra healing or damage. I like it because it also procs on your Penitent 1 and Power of the Dark Side. And the healing is quite noticeable, like 12k hit healing, so not a crit. 12k healing on just one bolt. It is the same as a Radiance. Very nice. It is actually super good, so I play with that all the time. Excuse me. And yeah, then you play with Nimble Steps because it is very strong, and some DPSs cannot dispel themselves, so it is actually very good. And I play with Charitable Soul because I always cast Power Word Shield, and it gives you an extra shield, so it is free healing or absorbs, if you can see it like that. So yeah, it is better. Also, there is nothing else on endurance that can be interesting. Fade is good, but I feel like I'm not pressing that much fade, although I should. It's a 10% damage reduction, but I prefer the extra shielding that you can provide with Power Word Shield because you are applying it a lot of the times. And I play with Fatal Flaw, which gives you after the haste effect, you get 20% versatility because it takes the highest stat that you have. 20% extra versatility is always nice, so I like it. So I play those conduits. If of course, if you're playing Night Fae, you can change it with the Night Fae conduit. And often than not, I see a lot of players play with Naya, but you can play also with Dreamweaver. Okay, playstyle. What is a disc priest? A disc priest is just a great hybrid. I feel like it's a hybrid healer. You have hybrid DPS, and this is a hybrid healer. You are going for the damage to heal your enemy, your allies with atonement healing. Atonement healing heals 50% of the damage that you deal to the targets, except for mind games, except for death, Shadow Word death. So it heals for a lot. And you can sometimes, if your healer, your DPS is 80% health, for example, you can prioritize doing damage because it will heal them passively. It is very, very strong, especially if you're doing with the special radiance. Like, sometimes it can heal for about 15k in total, just because of that atonement healing. It is very nice, very good, very noticeable. And your playstyle would be very aggressive. You want to kill the target as fast as possible. You'll have like no downtime. What is this? That's new. You have no downtime. You have no real possibility to just wait it out because you want to deal as much damage as possible whenever your DPSs are full health, and vice versa. You want to heal as much as possible if your DPSs are in a pinch. And that's the juiciness, I would say, from Disc Priest. You have a lot of variation on how you want to play versus comps, for example. And let's talk about comps. Comps. You are a healer and you have a lot of choices. You can play with a lot of DPSs, you can play with a lot of hybrids, you can do a lot of damage in twos, but you also can do a lot of damage in threes. So in threes, let's discuss in threes first. You have jungle. You can play jungle, so you have feral druid and survival hunter or BM or marksmanship hunter. Gives you a lot of freedom to actually CC because you can fear after a trap or you can fear after a stun. You have loads of possibilities, and also you will probably not be the target. So as a disc priest, it is easier to heal your allies because your atonement healing is very interesting. So You will try to protect the feral druid, you will try to protect the survival hunter, and try to CC whenever you can, but also try to damage whenever you can. And you can play also Venthyr in that comp, because Night Fae is not the priority that the comp has, because the CDs are quite low, so you can play around that with mind games. In trees you can play also with Red's War, you can also play Turbo, you can play a lot of comps, but also RMP. Although RMP these days prefer to play with a Holy Priest because of the stun. If the stun one day gets nerfed, I think RMP will try to play with Disc Priest, because Disc Priest gives you more safety around bursts, for example, with pace suppression and Holy Ward barrier. Also, Dark Archangel is also very strong in that comp. In twos, you can play also with all DPSs, but I prefer to play with an assassination rogue, or I prefer to play with a hunter, which is super good and very, very relaxing, I would say. Because after a trap, you can just fear, and after than not, that game is already over. I like to play with enhancement shaman, but the enhancement shaman should be very good in their goes. Like, depends on how they play. I don't like to play with a retry paladin, because retry paladin has some difficulties with CC. They can only CC the healer, because they will just dispel the stun. So you don't have a lot of variety, but you will have a lot of time to actually deal damage. So that's actually nice. You can also play with a feral druid, but that feral druid needs to understand that you don't have chastise, and some people don't understand that. You can also play with an arms warrior or with a fury warrior, but again, they are very squishy, so you need to probably concentrate on healing. So comps wise, you're a healer, you have a lot of choices. To be honest, you can just make a group and you have a lot of choices. So just play Disc Priest if you like. So let's discuss about the place in the meta. So the place in the meta is actually very interesting for Disc Priest. I've made a few tier list videos, and always Disc Priest was probably the next to last healer. So you have mistweaver as the last bottom healer, and then you have Disc Priest. But often than not, I feel like people that are not playing Disc Priest are playing Holy Priest because of the obvious reason that they are OP. Or actually one of the better healers for this patch. I don't know if they are OP or not, but at this very moment, I feel like the healing output for all healers is quite low, except for Holy Priest, whenever they are popping CDs. But I think one day they will try to buff Disc Priest and nerf Holy Priest, and that will be the day where Disc Priest is going to be busted. Because I feel like Disc Priest don't really need a lot of changes. I feel like they just need to give a bit more oomph to the penitence damage, not the healing, but the damage. Like, for example, the ratio is 5.5k holy damage to an enemy and 14k healing to an ally. I feel like it should be a bit higher. It would be 7k, like the half of the healing should be damage, and that could be also very, very good. So it all depends on how you play it versus who you play it, and yeah, I like Disc Priest. The meta is not really made for Disc Priest at this very moment, but the burstiness and the easy access to damage should give you the ability as Disc Priest to thrive. This guide is already very long, but I wanted to explain as much as I can about Disc Priest and how I feel about Disc Priest. I hope you learned something. I will try to upload some gameplay for Disc Priest, so you have like a better idea on how to play Disc Priest, but how you can also deal damage, because I see a lot of Disc Priests that are not dealing damage. That is actually the way that you should not play as a Disc Priest. My voice is completely lost, but thank you for watching this video. Please comment below if you learned something, or if you're playing Disc Priest. Try to help each other. Are you switching to Disc Priest after this video? Are you still playing Holy Priest for the obvious chastise and obvious creative fate reasons? Or are you actually like hesitating? Are you going to go back to Disc Priest, or stay as a Holy Priest, or completely change class? Let me know in the comments below, and thank you for watching. Thank you for the many subs that are subscribing these days on my channel. I really appreciate it, and I always look forward to help as much people as I can, and I like to make videos. So thank you for supporting my channel. Thank you. Have a great day and see you very soon. Bye.